You know that little blue symbol on your phone, right? Of course you do. It's pretty much everywhere, connecting our lives without any wires. But it's kind of crazy to think that behind that familiar icon is a story that goes all the way back over 1,000 years to a Viking king. Yeah, you heard that right. So today, we're going to unravel the surprising history and the very clever science of Bluetooth. At the end of the day, the mission behind Bluetooth was always beautifully simple. It was all about getting rid of wires and cables. The big goal was to finally cut the cord and say goodbye to that tangled mess of wires that used to connect all of our devices. Okay, and this is where the story gets really interesting, because the name for this super futuristic wireless tech, it didn't come from some high-tech lab or a slick marketing firm. Nope. It comes from a 10th century Scandinavian ruler. So the big question is, what in the world does a Viking king have to do with your wireless earbuds? To really understand the spirit of Bluetooth, we have to go back to its incredible origin story. And trust me, it's a tale that involves rival tech giants, a history book, and a moment of pure inspiration. So, picture this. It's 1996. The worlds of personal computers and mobile phones are absolutely exploding, but they have one huge problem. They aren't talking to each other. Every company was doing its own thing, and what they desperately needed was one universal standard, a single language that all their different devices could speak. So, while this is all going on, one of the tech leaders in that meeting was, believe it or not, reading a history book. And it was about this guy, Harold Bluetooth Garmson. He was famous not for conquering, but for connecting, for uniting different warring kingdoms under a single banner. Are you starting to see the parallel here? That leader was a guy from Intel named Jim Kardach, and he thought King Harold's story was the perfect metaphor for what they were trying to do, unite the PC and the cell phone industries. So he just tossed out Bluetooth as a temporary code name. But when it came time to pick a final official name, all the other options had trademark issues. So the placeholder just stuck. And the rest is history. And the connection gets even deeper. That iconic logo? It's not just some random symbol. It's actually what's called a bind rune, a combination of two ancient Nordic runes. You've got Hagal, which stands for H, and Bjorken, which stands for B. H, B, Harald Bluetooth. His initials have been hiding in plain sight this whole time. So now we know where that wild name comes from. But how does the technology actually work? How does the music from your phone magically appear in your headphones? Well, it all comes down to speaking a language made of radio waves. To really get what makes Bluetooth so special, just think back to an old TV remote that used infrared. You had to point it directly at the TV, right? If anything got in the way, it was useless. Bluetooth is completely different. It uses radio frequencies, so it doesn't need a clear line of sight at all. It'll work through your pocket, a backpack, even a wall, and it can talk to several devices all at once. Now, specifically, it operates in a very busy neighborhood of the airwaves, the 2.4 gigahertz band. This is the exact same slice of air that tons of Wi-Fi routers and even your microwave oven use. So as you can imagine, that creates a bit of a challenge. So how in the world do you send digital information, all those millions of ones and zeros, using a radio wave? Well, there's a fancy term for it, frequency shift keying, but all that really means is that the devices rapidly shift the radio frequency. The traffic light analogy here is perfect. Your brain knows red means stop and green means go. Bluetooth does something really similar, just assigning a 1 to one frequency and a 0 to a slightly different one, and then switching between them incredibly fast. But to avoid getting drowned out by your Wi-Fi or your microwave, Bluetooth does something absolutely brilliant. It doesn't just stay on one channel. It hops between 79 different channels at a mind-boggling rate, 1,600 times every single second. This constant frequency hopping is the secret sauce that makes the connection so robust and so hard to interfere with. And the data itself isn't sent in one long stream. It's all broken up into these tiny digital packages. Each packet has an access code, which is like the address on a letter, making sure it gets to your headphones and not someone else's. It has a header, which basically describes what's inside, and then you have the payload. That's the actual good stuff, the ones and zeros that make up your music or your phone call. So, this clever combination of Viking history and radio physics isn't just some technical curiosity. It has fundamentally, completely changed the way we all interact with technology every single day. Just look around your home. It has totally decluttered our lives. I mean, think about the freedom of wireless speakers and headphones. Or the convenience of keyboards, mice, and game controllers that just connect effortlessly with no cables anywhere. It's even in our smart locks and our lighting now. And at work, it's made us so much more mobile and efficient. From hands-free headsets that let us take calls on the go, to beaming a file to a colleague with a single tap using AirDrop, to even finding our lost keys with a tiny little tracker, it's become the invisible engine of modern convenience. It's even revolutionizing our health. Every time your smartwatch syncs a workout or your smart scale sends your data to an app on your phone, that's Bluetooth. It's that invisible link that makes all of that effortless tracking possible. But let's be realistic. For all its strengths, the technology has never been perfect. It's always had its limitations, and frankly, those limitations are what have driven its constant evolution. Oh yeah, the early versions had some clear trade-offs. The range was super short, we're talking maybe 30 feet, maybe? The speeds were often too slow for high-quality audio, and because it was sharing the airwaves with all those other devices, interference could definitely be a problem, causing dropouts and glitches. But man, has the technology evolved. Just look at the difference between the first version and a more modern one. As we all started demanding things like high-fidelity music streaming, the speed had to get way faster. And the maximum range? It's exploded, from just 10 meters to over 200. We've gone from just basic wireless voice calls to streaming high-quality audio to 2 devices at once. Today's Bluetooth is just late years beyond where it started. It's faster, it goes much, much farther, but maybe the most important development is how little power it uses. This Bluetooth low energy is really the key that unlocked the entire Internet of Things, allowing tiny battery-powered sensors to stay connected for months or even years at a time. So, from a temporary codename inspired by a Viking king, we got a technology that unites our entire digital world. It started by just cutting the cord to our headphones, and now it connects our homes, our health, and our work, which really just leaves one big question. What's the next cord it's destined to cut?